I'm RACER's Marshall Pruett. We're doing our latest installment of our Walk&Talk series. Look at this guy hanging tough here. Marcus Ericsson. We're in Victory Lane where you were about a year ago, 50-ish weeks ago. One of your countrymen, Joel Grandforce, just won here. Apparently you're rubbing off all the great mojo for Swedish drivers, but we're back here where you were being elevated, getting up, winning your first Indy 500. Thought it'd be a perfect opportunity here for all of our videos, brought to us by Vintage Motorsport magazine, to talk about this crazy experience of yours, but starting out as a kid. So why don't we start walking down pit lane, brother?
I mean, first of all, it's so cool it's always so cool to be here. You know, like this place, it doesn't get much better than that. And you know, like you said, sweet up there. Exactly. Again, love it.
Well, we don't want Felix Rosenquist to get too much of that mojo and juju from you, but young Joel for sure. Let's start talking about you as a kid. I think everybody knows you're a son of Sweden, proud son of Sweden. I think folks would love to learn about where you grew up, about your parents, what they did, how did they make this young guy that you are. Tell us about where you grew up in, this household you grew up in.
Yeah, so I'm from, let's say, like a normal middle-class family in Sweden. My dad is a house painter and still is, and my mom worked in the supermarket, in the local bank there, and so she did some different jobs. But yeah, growing up, my big passion was hockey and cars, so that was like my two things. But my family had never any racing or anything like that in the generations before me, so it was not like a natural thing for me to do racing. But I kept bugging my dad that I wanted to try this go-kart place. It was like 10 minutes away from our house. And
wow.
I think eventually he got tired of me just saying, I want to go. So then he let me go there, and I loved it from the first lap.
Has your dad's house painting business taken off a ton? He's got some great promotional material to work with.
Yeah, no, but he's doing very well. I mean, he started his company the year I was born, and he still has it. And it's a family-owned company, so it's only him and then my other brother Pontus. I have two brothers, and the middle brother, I'm the oldest one. He works now together with my dad in that family company. So yeah, but they're doing very well. Yeah.
So you demonstrated talent right away. Like your name in karting came up very quickly. Tell folks about that, because that's a thing where if you demonstrate talent coming from a middle-class family, karting is about as far as you're going to get on a middle-class family's income before things start to get really expensive. Tell me about your graduation there.
Yeah, I think, I have a lot to thank of my family. They put everything into it. I know my dad, he worked like 24/7 to try and get the money together so we can go karting. And we managed to do it, or my dad managed to do it, so I could do it in Sweden. It went very well. I won a lot of races and championships and Swedish championships. And then I was very fortunate to have the team owner of my go-kart team, Joachim Ward, a Swedish guy. He really believed in me and he saw the talent in me, so he helped me get a deal so we could race internationally. Because we didn't really have the opportunity money-wise to go international go-karts, but he helped us to get that. So then we started to go go-karting in Europe and did some good success there as well.
So Formula BMW is a place in car racing where you really start to make your name. Success, victories there. Formula 3, next big step for you. The thing that I love about your background, Marcus, is British Formula 3 is kind of the traditional place to go. Not saying that you didn't have some traditional F3 roots, but going to Japan, right? Japanese F3 is kind of that super rare B cut that everybody loves. Tell me about that, because you learned a ton. It also helped get your name. The Macau Grand Prix is really where you start to rise into people's register.
Yeah, for sure. I think for me, my early career there in cars, I got the chance to work. Kenny Bracken, AEL, was my manager there. Obviously, everyone knows Kenny here in America. And they took me under their wings, and we did the first few years, like I said, in the UK, BMW F3, and I was thinking I was going to do another year F3 in Britain. And I remember Kenny calling me like around Christmas one year, and he said, yeah, we've decided now you're gonna go to Japan and do the Japanese Formula 3 Championship. And I'm like, haha, yeah, that's a good joke. And he's like, no, 2 weeks and then you're moving. And I was 18 years old at this time, and I had to move to the other side of the world. Didn't know a single person in Japan, but they just sent me on a plane there and like figure it out. And to be honest, it was part of it. It was for me to grow up and be independent and learn how to sort of stand on my own feet, you know?
Yeah.
And that at the time was very scary in many ways, but it was really like I learned so much that year, and yes, it was successful. Also, I won the championship, but on the outside the car, you know, I learned even more. So it was a very cool experience that I think helped shape me as a driver and as a person.
Your Formula One experience, I think folks have probably learned tons about. I don't know if there's anything there that really interests me, and I don't mean that in a critical way, but you drove for some teams that were teams. You were never going to have great results there. But I would like to know how the weight or baggage of Formula One, how you process that today, because if you read what the experts on the internet have to say, you're a garbage driver, you never did anything, Formula One's the pinnacle, you were never Lewis Hamilton or Max Verstappen, so therefore everything you're doing here in IndyCar is kind of pretending. Do you let any of that sink in? Have you pushed it out?
I think, you know, now I've established myself here and shown what I can do in a series where it's more about the driver and the driver's skills. I'm still proud of what I did in Formula One. You know, I got to Formula One. That was something I worked very hard for a very long time to get to that goal of being a Formula One driver. Yes, my years there didn't pan out the way I wanted. I didn't really get the chance to show what I could do there, I felt like. That was one of the big motivations why I wanted to come to IndyCar in America, because I felt like I have so much skill and you know, I want to show that to myself and to the world. And you know, that was one of the big reasons why I wanted to come here. And I feel like, you know, I've worked hard over my years in IndyCar and got to a point now where I'm running up front in the championship and winning races, and yeah, won the big one here last year.
So we're going to do two more things here. So you have a little bit of time left as the reigning, defending winner of the greatest spectacle in racing. What has this last almost year of your life been like now? And I would imagine you don't want anyone else to be standing up there here shortly, but tell us about what this year of your life's been like.
It's been incredible, to be honest. It's, you know, people say it's a life-changing thing to win the 500, and you know, it's hard to understand what that means before it sort of happens. And it is true, you know, I got to do so many cool stuff after winning the 500. Obviously, for me, the highlight, bringing the Borg Warner Trophy to Sweden, to my home country, that was just incredible.
Thanks to Borg Warner and Steve Schunk, for sure.
That was incredible. But also, you know, all the other things you get to do with being the Indy 500 champion, and I've really tried to embrace that and you know, do as much as possible to sort of represent the Indy 500 and what it means. So it's been an incredible year. I'm gonna do everything to stand up there again here in a couple of weeks.
Close on this, Marcus. I've written about this recently, and you've said I don't want to talk much about it, but you're going to be driving for somebody next year in this paddock for a championship-winning, Indy 500-winning team. I don't know if that's going to be your current team or another team, but I do know, in speaking to your team and other teams, there are a lot of folks who want you. What does that feel like for the first time in your career where folks are legitimately fighting to have you as one of their keystone drivers? And I am right, you're going to be here next year. Someone's going to be paying you a lot of money. I might need to borrow some of that. But you're going to be a thoroughly paid driver next year somewhere. What does that feel like?
No, but it feels great to be wanted, for sure. And you know, like I said, I've worked extremely hard to be in this position, and you know, let's see what happens. But yeah, I want to be hired. I want to be, you know, I want to be here because of my skills as a driver, and I think I've shown that I deserve that. So yeah, I'm excited about what's to come, but yeah, I'm sure it's going to be good.
Marcus Ericsson, y'all. One of the greatest stories we've had in IndyCar, and I can't tell you how long. Thanks, brother.
Thank you.